Hey everybody, Eduardo Talbert here with MonsterTutorials.com. In a previous tutorial I made some teeth. We learned how to make these teeth, and in order to show the teeth I made these gums, and a lot of people were asking, well, the teeth are cool, but how do we make the gums? So today we're going to make gums like these. Let's go back to the studio and let's get started. Today we're going to make some gums that go very good with the teeth that we made last time. They'll be looking something like that, and I showed you earlier on the video. So that's what we're going to be making. For the gums, what we need basically is a tube, cardboard, toilet paper tube, paper towel tube, something like this. The cheapest toilet paper you can find with no print on it. That's for the corpsing. School glue, some water, some paints. These are all like gum color paints, pinks, oranges, reds, like that, right? I usually use like black exterior latex for that rubbery initial finish from which I build the colors up. And masking tape, some wire. The wire is optional, but it helps keep the gums in shape. And finally some teeth, right? So for the teeth, I've made 2 videos with 3 different tutorials in it. So if you haven't seen those, I've linked those before. So watch those later or watch them before you watch this. But we're going to need these teeth, or any teeth if you have, to make the gums. This tutorial is for the gums only and not the teeth. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is determine the thickness of the gums. So for gums like this, which are about a ½ inch or so, then we're going to do about 1 inch of tube. So just cut 1 inch of tube right off the top. This is all you're going to need. Doesn't matter if you leave it jagged or not, because the more jagged it is, the more natural it looks. It looks like the gums were ripped off of something instead of like a set of dentures, which is perfectly smooth on the edge. Okay, I'm going to take this little tube and just fold it inwards until this edge meets that edge. That's it. Fold it, as you can see. This side smooth, and you have the beginnings of your gums. Now we're just going to cut this open. And if you notice, you're starting to get the shape of some gums. Right? Now the wire that is optional is to put in here if you wanted to hold the shape, which I will use. Now all I'm going to do is on the inside of our gums, just put the wire in there with a couple drops of glue just to hold it in place. Alright, see that? Now it has the shape of some gums, the general shape. Okay? So just bend it and give it the shape exactly like you want it. If you're doing a full set of gums, just go all the way to the back. If you're just using like a teeth plate for a prop, then just cut it right there or something like that. Okay, the next step, I'm going to take the masking tape and just wrap it around and give it a little bit of thickness and a little bit more of the shape that we want. I'm going to wrap it all the way around, and it doesn't matter if you have a few wrinkles, because all it's going to do is add texture to it, like these. So wrinkles are okay, little bits and pieces sticking out is okay, because it'll look like bone chips or bone spurs coming out of the jawbone. Now these edges are too square right here. You see that right there and right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them a little bit at an angle and kind of rip them off, so it looks like ripped off bone or ripped off skin, so it doesn't look like a nice square piece of cardboard. See, that's a little bit rounder, Still looks very artificial, so I'm going to add more tape to seal this open edge, and then when we do that corpsing with the toilet paper, we'll add little flakes and pieces of skin sticking out. So you see those little pieces of skin right here, little flaps? All that is little bits and pieces of tape and toilet paper. And at the end, what I did is I left it all wrinkled, a piece of toilet paper, before the corpsing, and it made it look like pieces of flesh. And here's actually a hole that I painted black, but you could paint it white inside to look like the bone. So that's what we're doing with this preliminary corpsing. Right, so there we go. Now we're going to start the corpsing process. For that, we're going to take just school glue and water, about a half and half proportion, and we're going to start corpsing this. I'm going to use this one that has a straight edge to wrap it around just like we did with the masking tape. And I don't mind the edge right now because this is not going to be the surface that you will be seeing. I'm going to put more layers after that. All I'll do is put a little bit of the water glue mixture. Grab your piece of toilet paper, just lay it there. Then wrap it, and after we wrap it all the way, I'm just going to go over it with the glue and water mixture. And remember, wrinkled is good. Now this is going to be the area where the teeth are going to be attached, so I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Right, we're going to let this layer dry thoroughly until it's dry to the touch, and then we're going to do about 2 or 3 more layers. We just want these to get thicker to look like a real jawbone. We're going to let dry in between every layer. Okay, this is dry now, our little jaw thing. On this one, what I did is I finished all the pink painting and everything on the jawbone, and then I glued the teeth. And it looks kind of cool, but it looks like the teeth are just glued on there. It doesn't look like they're growing through the thing. So on this one, I thought this is going to be more of a pain in the butt. But we can glue or drill the teeth in right now, and then very carefully finish the corpsing around the teeth so they look like real gums, like the skin is wrapping the teeth where it grows out of the jaw. So let's try that. I'm going to glue the teeth on here right now. Okay, I'm going to take this little punch, it's like a little pick, and I'm going to just start making the holes where I want the teeth to go. See the little holes there? Alright, we're going to make them bigger with a pen or a pencil or something else. Okay, I made the holes bigger so we can kind of countersink the teeth into the jawbone. There you go. So now it's quite simple. We just take our glue gun, put a drop of glue in each hole, and put the teeth exactly where we want it. Some nice cool teeth. So now we're going to do another layer of corpsing with toilet paper and glue all around it, but also going around the base of the teeth to make the gums. And the trick here is just to get the front where the teeth are really wet with the water glue mixture, and then take a piece of toilet paper. Take a strip of toilet paper and just fold it in half and lay it right on top of the teeth so they cover about 1/4 of them. Let the water glue hold it in place. Let's get all this nice and stuck onto the jawbone, and just get it stuck and round it on the back. Don't get it too close to the teeth yet. We'll do that in a second. Get all these. As you slide it down, it'll look like wrinkled skin that comes up to the tooth. See that? This tooth. Oh, perfect. Look at that. And around. and around, and let's push this one down. That'll look a little bit more like gums, except they're growing up to the tooth, don't they? You see that? Now we can keep corpsing and adding more gums, and then just pushing it down with our little hook. This is going to look much better than the other one, but it's going to be more work to paint without getting the paint on the teeth. So we're going to be painting the gums and trying to avoid painting the teeth. Okay, so I finished putting the gums around the teeth. Now what I'm going to do is put some toilet paper on this area and just let it hang here so that it's like flesh hanging off of the edge, similar to this. And all it is toilet paper that is just hanging kind of wet, and we're just gonna let it dry like that, and it'll take this this consistency of ripped flesh. This way you don't have that perfectly straight line down here. The way to do it is just lay some toilet paper on top, then glue this part onto it. And then as you get the bottom wet, it'll curl and get wrinkled and start ripping. So go ahead and put some rips in it, some rips and tears. Just make sure it doesn't fold in and sticks onto itself on the inside. Once you have it nice and wet like that, and just take the pick like this and just rip some pieces off. See that? You can just let that dry and it'll look like a piece of skin once we paint it and get it all nice and gross. So just keep doing that with a few more pieces. Also do it over here in the end, so there's stuff hanging here and stuff hanging on the other end. And then after that we should be ready to start painting this thing. This is nice and dry now, and some of these pieces of toilet paper are nice and stiff from the glue water. So now we're going to take the black latex paint right here. See if I can. There you go. And paint all of it except for the teeth. So I'm going to use a big brush for the big areas, and then this tiny little brush to go around the teeth. I'm going to be very careful as I get close to the teeth so I don't get any paint on it, because that'll be a pain to remove. I finished painting most of the jaw, but I'm still missing this part really close to the teeth. So I'm going to use this tiny little brush to paint that area. Once we're done painting this, we're going to let it dry thoroughly, and then we start with the dry brushing. Okay, as you can see, this latex is nice and dry, and the little bits and pieces that hang off are all nice and covered in latex, so they'll last a little bit longer. So we're going to start with some red color. I've mixed some red, brown, and a little bit of yellow to give it a deep, dark, fleshy color. So we're going to cover most of it, and don't worry too much about the deep, deep cracks, because those will be black, which adds depth to your prop. See that wrinkles start jumping out? Okay, now I made some very pale pink with a little bit of white, a little bit of brown to give it more of a rotten color. And all we're going to do is just dry brush this all over the gums. And the way we do this is just take all the paint off of the paintbrush and then rub it lightly all over. It will start picking up all the wrinkles. This is just giving it some highlights. There you go. Now to make it shiny and wet, all I'm going to do is coat this with some Mod Podge. Remember, Mod Podge dries clear and it gives you a shiny, wet looking surface. If you use regular school glue, it'll dry clear, but it will not have a shiny surface. It'll be more of a matte surface. I'm going to set this to dry, and we should be done, and all we need to do is add blood and decide what we're going to do with it. There you go. That's how you make the gums to go with the teeth that we learned last time. So if you think this is a cool tutorial and it helped you a lot, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I am Eduardo Talbert with Monster Tutorials. See you soon.